So we're talking about Burnley, what their chances are of getting promotion this season, what's happened since they dropped out of the Prem after last season, new manager coming in, a lot of things in the works. And then we might look at their kit as well and see what we think, give our thoughts on that too.
Anthony's going to rate the kit.
Yeah, look, I've got a habit of it now.
Brilliant.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, can't wait to hear it. The championship is going to be kicking off soon. Burnley are back in action on Sunday the 11th of December. They're going to be playing against QPR. Now they've gone into the World Cup break or a bit of time off. Top of the table, they're sitting on a pretty 41 points. That's a couple ahead of Sheffield United. Well, it's in fact 3 ahead, I shouldn't say couple, who are down there in second. Blackburn kind of rounding that out for the top 3. They're on 36. So they've got a little bit of a cushion there. They have won their last 3 games. They're going to be playing against QPR, who possibly have the worst, last 5 games or recent run, maybe in the championship. I think they're winless in their last 5. So it's a good chance for them, to get a win on the board, get a few extra points and keep pushing towards hopefully automatic promotion for those guys. Obviously we know they've got Vincent Kompany in this season. They kind of let Sean Dyche go towards the end of last season. Very controversial move. You would say that obviously the move ultimately didn't work out for them. Yeah. However, on the flip side of that, you might say the long-term aim, they maybe had Kompany in the background or they had, plans of revitalising the club in some way. And do you reckon that has happened with Burnley this season? Yeah,
I mean, whenever a new manager comes in, it's always a big test. They're going to want the team to play quite differently. They might change a lot of things up, new players coming in, a lot of going normally. And especially, it's such a big drop from Premier League to Championship. Already that in itself is going to already mean lots of changes around the place. So yeah, to kind of add a new manager into that as well, it's huge, although, he's very familiar with English football, typically, in the Premier League, but that does kind of filter down through to the Championship.
Interestingly enough, on Vinny Kompany, does he go into that all-time list of Prem defenders?
Yeah, he's definitely up there, Hall of Fame, or you mean his best 11? Is that what
yeah, potentially. Is he in with a
modern era? You'd have to put him in. I think for most people, they would struggle to take out Rio and Terry. They're typically the big two. Maybe some might put Vidic in there. Yeah, modern day, he definitely has to be. In the last 10 years, I think he's probably must be the top name. But yeah, no, he's doing a great job. I think he kind of started his managerial role off in Belgium.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this, to me, I would say he's probably a much bigger role. Like I said, trying to revitalise a team that's just dropped down into the Prem. Sean Dyche, as you also mentioned, he kept them in the Premier League so long. You could say probably overperforming. They're a bit of a smaller club in comparison to a lot of the big whales they've got in the Premier League. So he did a great job without spending too much money and just grinding results out week after week. But yeah, it's going well for him. Looks like they'll get back into the Prem. It's a bit of a fairy tale if they do manage to do it. Not a lot of clubs do drop and bounce straight back up. It can be yo-yo. I know, look at the likes of Sunderland, we've all seen that documentary as well where they went down, went down again. It can be a tough job. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think ultimately the aim has to be going straight back up, right? And it is interesting because I think from the outside, obviously, maybe not being a close follower of Burnley, but having an eye on them, they're always one of those clubs where I think they get a lot of respect from the majority of people. I think Sean Dyche was a really likable character. Obviously, he was there for so long as well, which built this kind of understanding of, hey, everyone knows what Burnley's about, maybe some of their principles, some of the ethos around work ethic and playing a little bit above yourself, which is interesting that they've now gone for someone like Vincent Kompany, who would probably admit himself, he's trying to play this a bit more progressive style of football, which is going to be interesting to see how it goes. They're looking like they may go back up. As I say, from the outside, I'd probably say I hope they do. They're a club that I do enjoy having in and around. Admittedly, results against Liverpool have been varied from time to time.
They're a tough place to go play away.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they famously beat us at Anfield as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
During that terrible run of ours. So yeah, they're a club I'm definitely excited to have back. But it will be interesting to see, having listened to Sean Dyche do a few interviews in and around, the time now since he's left and had a bit of time off, sort of saying well, what did you expect from me? I'm playing for Burnley. I don't necessarily have the budget or the capacity to be playing this expansive free-flowing football, going to the Etihad and Burnley, they're a long ball team and they sit compact. He's just what, do you want me to go toe-to-toe with City and just have a 7-0 game? So it will be interesting to see long-term if Vincent Kompany does produce these good results, what style of football and what direction are Burnley heading in if they go into the Premier League. I think probably the most famous one is Stoke City. You know, they had Tony Pulis there doing so well with a core group of players, and everyone just knew, okay, this is Stoke, this is what they're about. Maybe got rid of him in hope of changing the style and change the direction of the club, not always just this mid-table team that stay there, but pushing further up, and it completely backfired and went the other way. So I think all eyes are sort of on Burnley to see what's that trajectory looking like if hopefully they do make the Premier League.
Yeah, I think a lot of the, like touching on that point about like style of play and things, I think the bigger clubs obviously have the luxury of maybe coming in and managers and fans kind of being able to decide, oh, we kind of want to see this style of football. This is what we want our club to play like. Historically, we might have done it, and that's what might attract a lot of fans to the game and things like that. But you're talking about like when Burnley are in the Premier League, they just got to grind results out. They've got to do what they have to get a result. They can't go in there and be like, oh, we'll outplay them. We'll pass the ball around and hold possession against City. Like that's just not going to happen. Man City and a lot of other clubs are competing with much bigger budgets. And like I said, for me as a fan, I think he's got nothing but respect to keep Burnley up. Like every year people think, oh, they'll go down. They're in the relegation zone with like 5 games to go. Surely they're going down. And he manages to just get a few draws or maybe a win here and there, and it keeps him up. And kind of letting him go was like a huge shock, because you think
they're almost one and the same, aren't they? They have like a similar identity.
Yeah, well,
Burnley is Sean Dyche and Sean Dyche is Burnley.
Yeah, but who do you want to manage your club if you're in the relegation zone with 5 games to go? Like if Liverpool were down there, you'd almost think, oh, might be worth getting rid of Klopp and bringing Sean Dyche in, because like this is the man we need at this time. This is
Big Sam.
Yeah, like a Big Sam. Like these guys know how to play those games. They've been in that. They're familiar with that position. They know what they need to do. And Burnley, who had been in that position so many times before, and he'd got them out, it now seems like they maybe shot themselves in the foot getting rid of him.
But I guess it does bring it back to that one. Of just like, well, what is the aims, what are the hopes for Burnley as a club or as a city if they're continuously just in this like relegation dogfight in the Premier League? Do they not ever want to be aiming above and beyond that? And if so, like, is Sean Dyche the man for that? Like maybe not. Obviously they've gone with probably not. But I guess what is sort of the ambitions, or where is the trajectory for bringing someone like Vincent Kompany in, who has a history of success and playing good football under someone like Pep Guardiola? What's that look like for Burnley?
I think already, like after the first 20 games, 21 games for Burnley, it seems to be working for them. When you picture Kompany as a manager, you think, okay, yeah, he will play that progressive style. He's played at City and at the top level, where he probably is used to having a lot more possession and controlling games. And then a team like Burnley, who spent so long in the Premier League dropping down, maybe they are towards the top of that kind of scale in the Championship, where they can control games and pass around a bit more. So yeah, I think they can do that in the Championship and definitely push for promotion. I think Burnley fans are obviously praying that they drop down and go straight back up. It's not always the way, but they look like they're in a good position to do that now, because two get automatic qualification, the next 4 then play off. So obviously a chance if they do drop down as far as was it 6th. But yeah, once they're in the Premier League, I think if they do get promoted at the end of this season, it's always going to be a slow transition if you want Kompany to get in there and establish that, because I know like teams like Fulham in the past have come up and tried to play that style and go kind of head to head with these bigger clubs, and they'll just get killed for it. It's really difficult. I think you do need to adapt and be realistic with how you're going to play when you get promoted, because it's a big jump. And even Nottingham Forest, they've had to they've gone out and bought 22, 23 players, something ridiculous, just a huge overhaul, probably in the hope again that they're going to change their style of play, and it's not really worked out too well for them. So yeah, it's going to be a slow transition if you're going to bring someone in. Like look at Gerrard at Villa. He went in there and was hoping to play a really progressive style, and didn't really work. He was even backed with a bit of money, and he got Coutinho in and picked players that he knew and was familiar with. But yeah, he was probably a bit too ambitious. It maybe seemed in hindsight with that, because you just kind of got to play a brand of football that's going to get you over the line in those tough games.
I think it is an interesting one as well, isn't it? Where again we talk about that blend of like results versus performance, and being like, hey, we need to get the results, but we want to ensure that we're getting it in the right way and the right capacity. And it does seem that there's often that train of thought, and it would be interesting to get some Burnley fans' comments in as well, of like, hey, maybe we are better to go down and get relegated, to have this rebuild to then come up in a different way. I remember last season a lot of Everton fans, like I was hearing and listening to them sort of say, it might be a good thing for us to get relegated so as we can clear the deadwood, rebuild, go again. Obviously tricky part of that is you mentioned someone like a Sunderland or Leeds prior before, where they almost like keep getting relegated.
Free falling, yeah.
You're doing this rebuild and going the other way, but sometimes it doesn't always work. Or like a Stoke, where okay, we need to maybe sell and bring in new players, and now they're this perpetual sort of championship level team. Which, bringing it back to Burnley, they seem to have done that really well in, hey, we are going to let some players go, and they have let some players go either on a free or for some big transfer fees relative to them, and brought in quite a few players on a loan system or buying few, whatever, to have that rebuild and create this style of play that's in line with Vincent Kompany or a Pep Guardiola-esque model to then come back into the Premier League and get the results.
Yeah, I think like similar to that, when you touched about like Burnley fans and potentially getting some of their input if possible, like I wonder if this season, if they are doing well, playing, topping the league right now, is that a more enjoyable season for a Burnley fan? Obviously you're not at the pinnacle of English football, but if you're top of the table and you're winning games, and admittedly I've not been watching them play week to week, but they are most likely scoring a lot more goals. Like in the Premier League, they're famous for grinding out 0-0, draws.
Yeah.
Maybe getting one or two goals if they're lucky. But if they're going out there and actually comfortably beating teams,
they're the league's top scorers.
Yeah, which is just like, as a Premier League fan, you think of Burnley, you think, oh, these guys don't score goals.
Yes.
Like these guys are just lock it down, defend it, tough place to go play, tough team to play against. So for now, if they're out there scoring goals and walking all over teams, like that is just already a completely rejuvenated team.
Yeah, cool. So getting into the famous part of the segment for Ant's rankings,
Okay.
what are we sort of looking at here for Burnley? Let's have a look at some kits maybe for the home, away. Do they have a third strip?
Yeah, well, looking at this kit, it's, we've seen Burnley in the Premier League for a few years now. This one's a lot louder. There's, a pattern through it that, normally it's just got the, claret and blue. Similar to this one.
I am a fan of Umbro kits usually as well. I think they do produce some quite nice ones.
They feel a bit old school Umbro.
Yeah.
But this one's, a bit of a pattern through it, something a bit different. It's not as clean. Me, probably a bit more of a clean kind of guy myself. Yeah, so that pattern is a bit, it strikes me as maybe a pattern you'd put through like an away kit or a third kit. But yeah, we've also got the away kit here and the third kit. This blue one looks like it's the away kit.
Yep.
And then they've got like a dark third kit as well with a pattern through it too. So like I said, I'm a big fan of the cleaner kits. I'm leaning towards that away kit. That's kind of inverted the colours. It's got the blue as the main and then...
Yeah, that's a pretty clean kit. I like the stripes on the sleeves as well there.
Yeah.
Like a
simple but
effective. Yeah, little addition there. We've seen some great dark colours with that like coming through. I think Atletico Madrid probably have the most famous one where that is like a super clean, crisp pairing of those two colours. Maybe that like little patterning inside there as well going a bit overboard versus what they could have come out with. But again, I'd probably rank that better than their home kit. So I'd probably go away, third, home.
Yeah, me too. I think that third kit's got like a little bit through it. It still looks pretty clean and simple, but just something there just to keep you on your toes. My pick's definitely that away kit. Lastly, let's have a look at this badge.
I think they've got a lot of things in there that sort of represent the town or the city or the area as well. Yeah. Which are very important.
Yeah, it looks like there's like a lot of symbolism going on there. There's,
You've got things like the hand, the bees, obviously working industry as well.
Yeah, big working town there. They've got like, I don't know, I think some kind of...
I think that's meant to represent a river as well.
Yeah, okay.
For me, Burnley, I see that as one of those more traditional clubs and in touch with its community sort of roots. And you can definitely see that coming through there with a lot of symbolism through different variations.
Yeah, I really like a lot of what it stands for.
Cool. Well, that was us getting into our chat about Burnley and their future hopes, aspirations, where they can sort of see themselves coming in the near future, maybe getting back into the Premier League as well, and dropping in with his examination of the kit.
Put them under the microscope, man. I'm a bit of a fashion icon in the local community, so I just got to give my 2 cents on these things.
Yeah. Go on the extra mile as well, getting in the colours as well, so super important.
Burnley fans, let us know your thoughts. Be great to hear what your season ambitions are, where they end up. Hopefully all the best for them, and might see them in the Prem next season. Yeah,
also maybe touching on Kompany as well. Happy to see, maybe not happy, but was letting Dyche go the right decision, bringing in someone like Kompany.
Yep.
Can we go from there?
All right. Thanks, guys.
Cheers,
see you in the next one. Red mate. Today we're going to talk about Burnley.
Burnley?
Burnley.